All right, y'all ready? It's 5:30. Let's call this meeting to order. Rhonda, will you call the roll, please? Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. And let's see. Student invocation. We have someone from Ridge Road who's going to do the invocation for us.
Nobody was. We'll wing it. Mr. Barnes, you gotta say a little prayer.
Right there's fine.
Right there is fine.
Mr. Barnes is going to hand you that microphone and just speak through the microphone, okay?
May we bow our heads. In the name of the Lord we pray. We wish that this be a great meeting for everybody here, and we hope everybody enjoys this meeting, and we hope everybody here gets what they need. We hope everybody gets here safely we help everybody gets home safely like they got here. In the name of the Lord we pray. Amen.
Amen. Good job.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay. And then
Good.
we have
Off the cuff.
who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Tell the
Oh,
principal
come on,
no.
future doctor.
Told the principal no. Who says no to Mr. Howe?
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, will you please read the vision statement?
The vision statement, our community, our schools, where your future begins.
Ms. McLean, will you read the mission statement, please?
The North Little Rock School District will prepare all students for their future by offering a well-rounded, rigorous, relevant, and innovative education that allows each child to achieve their full potential in a safe, supportive learning environment to be future ready.
Mr. Taylor, will you please read the moral purpose?
As a community, our moral purpose is that all children will achieve, have a high-quality teacher, have a high-quality leader, and a supportive learning environment. We will not allow an achievement gap in the North Little Rock School District.
And Ms. Person West, will you do the North Little Rock School District graduation profile, please?
The North Little Rock School District graduate profile of future-ready skills acquired upon graduation: communication, critical thinking, collaboration, creativity and innovation, work-life balance, information, media and technology, problem-solving, research, personal finance, culture, global awareness, career development, preservation, perseverance, my bad. Civic and personal responsibility, leadership, ethics, environmental and outdoor education.
Ms. Wonkum, will you do the organizational core values, please?
Organizational core values: integrity, honesty, fairness, accountability, promise to students, diversity, inclusion, continuous learning, teamwork, service, and hospitality with innovation.
Thank you. And Dr. Redis, please do the 5-year strategic plan.
Sure. Our 5-year strategic plan includes rigorous, relevant, and innovative learning, safe, healthy, and supportive learning environments, organizational effectiveness, high-quality teachers, leaders, and staff, and engage, inform, and empower stakeholders.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're on to the fun part, the recognition of people, events, and programs.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, are one of our most exciting things that we do at every regular board meeting. And today we're going to showcase our student presentation from Ridge Road Elementary School. So I'll welcome the proud principal of Ridge Road Elementary School, Mr. Howe. Yay, Mr. Howe.
With this Christmas tie.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight and being able to hear what's going on at Ridge Road Elementary. I'm not going to say much because our student voice team is actually going to be the ones that are going to be presenting to you. Ms. Williams and Ms. Baggett and Ms. Baker and some other staff members have been preparing them for this moment, so I'm going to turn it over to them.
We celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month at Ridgeville Elementary from September 15th through October 15th, 2024.
One of the many activities that we did to honor Hispanic heritage was our first ever competition of songs. Each day we listened to two different music video links that represented a Hispanic country.
Music is an international language that brings us all together. Teachers played the videos for the classrooms each morning to show and share the important part of Hispanic culture with our students.
At Ridgeville Elementary, 33% of our students' population is Hispanic.
The country that won the competition of songs was Mexico.
Another activity during Hispanic Heritage Month was on each Monday. We listened to a different Hispanic narrator do a read aloud in Spanish.
We had a Hispanic Heritage Evening celebration at Ridge Road Elementary on Monday, October 14th, 2024. We had an outside area for football where the students could participate in the sport. In our school gym, we had a dancing celebration from the Ballet Folclorico Las Mariposas and Ballet Folclorico Quetzali to share different Hispanic dances from different countries.
In another area in our school, we offer free community resources for students and parents to make and take art that represented the Day of the Dead. We had a Hispanic Heritage Living Wax Museum the night of the Hispanic Heritage Celebration.
A couple of months ago for Hispanic Heritage Month, my gifted and talented teacher, Mrs. Newbern, told us in our GT class we were going to be dressing up and we would pick an important person to research for Hispanic Heritage Month, and we would make a board about our person and then showcase our important person during the evening celebration for parents and students at our Living Wax Museum. The character I picked was Victor Cruz. He is of Puerto Rican descent. He was an NFL player. He played for the New York Giants and Chicago Bears. He was a wide receiver. He played in over 40 games in his 7-year career in the NFL. He is the host of an early morning show called E's Pop of the Morning. One of his most famous quotes was, "There's only one life. There's no repeats. You only get one life, and you have to take advantage of it." It was a fun night, and it was a great experience, and I hope I get to do it again next year.
A few months ago, when Ms. Newbern was talking to us about Hispanic Heritage Celebration Night, She said we would dress up as a person of interest for Hispanic heritage to present at our Living Wax Museum. I decided I wanted to research Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez grew up in a family of Mexican-American descent. He led the first successful farm workers union in American history. He served in the Navy and fought in World War II. His famous quote was, "Self-dedication is a spiritual experience."
Hey students, y'all come over here. We're gonna do a group photo. Good job.
Doctor and future lawyer. Sweetheart, why don't you get in the back? Why don't you come back behind him so we can see him? There you go.
Yeah, some step down here and can you come down, sir?
There you go. Just have a couple step down.
You come down, ma'am?
Kind of tighten up.
They need to put a thing up. That's what, remember I used to hit that. They need a couple.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Everyone welcome.
Making a scene. Trying to hide.
It's just to start a meeting or get attention. It's a board meeting.
Can you get right there? Oh, you want? Or somebody get right there. I can't see her behind you. Good. Ms. Williams, can you come back? Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you, Ridge Road.
And I just want to give a compliment real quick. Y'all were so well spoken too. Great job. You're welcome.
Okay, we're at special recognition.
You can come up. Come on, Christoph. I'll do this first.
Oh, this is nice.
All excited. Well, Madam President, members of our Board of Education, and our community and our public, we have a very special recognition this evening, and this is such an honor that we do this. This is a tradition for us, but we want to be able to recognize Miss Cindy Temple for her leadership as our school board president over the last year and all that she has done for our school district on behalf of the school board. Would you like to say anything, Madam President?
No, you know I like very few words. It was an honor. Thank you.
Well said.
Okay. Why she turned red?
Good evening to our board president, board members, staff, and North Little Rock community. Our December recipient is no stranger to our North Little Rock community. Our recipient's passion to volunteer is commendable. As an employee at a company that honors and rewards employees for volunteering in their community, the company rewards $10 per every hour volunteered up to 50 hours, which is $500 per calendar year. And we know that helps a teacher in her classroom, hers or his classroom. Our recipient chose Indian Hills Elementary as the recipient of the $500. His daughter, who has served as a 5th grade teacher for 5 years. Our volunteer has a nonprofit, C. Roy Overflow Inc., named in honor of his mother, Miss Clarice Roy, to assist teachers with supplies and provide mentorships to local elementaries. On December 16, 2024, C. Roy Overflow Inc. was able to present and bless 18 students with bicycles and gift cards. North Little Rock community, let's salute our December Parent North Star, Victor D. Roy Sr. He thought he was coming to talk about it. Gotcha. Our December Great Rising Honor is being bestowed upon an organization established to support families and children in the North Little Rock community. Under the leadership of Councilwoman Linda Robinson and Mr. Darrell Montgomery, North Little Rock Cares was birthed, a youth coalition. CARE stands for Communication, Awareness, Resources, Engagement, and Services. And I must say, I gave them the names for the acronyms. Has partnered with North Little Rock High School and hosted a job fair, and presently one of our big programs is the Speakers Bureau, where they're going around speaking to our 5th grade students about the importance and power of self-respect, respect for authorities, and the importance of being in school every day, all day. Help me salute our December Great Rising recipient, North Little Rock Cares, who will be picked up by Mr. Montgomery, who used to serve on our school board as well. Thank you. I got you too.
executive closed session per North Little Rock School District Policy 1.14A, stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular or special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment if requested by parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion shall be considered in the that is considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public session and presents the item for a vote of membership. Additionally, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 106, 2C1 states that the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. So please join me in executive session to discuss the following matters: employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or resignation of an employee. Okay, we have no public comments. Are there any public comments? Okay, if not, we will go on to board member involvement. And we will start with Dr. Redis.
Get these out.
It's cold.
I went to the North Little Rock Grinch tour with Craig O'Neill at Boone Park. It was great. Cody Adams of Baldwin and Shell was there playing the Grinch. That was fun to watch. I went to Indian Hills Luncheon. Their fire marshals was Elena, Sophie, Augustine, Emmanuel, AJ, and Caleb, the news reporter. It was really nice watching the news reporter ask Dr. P questions and put him on the spot. I attended the North Rock School District Self-Care Fair at First Baptist and the ASBA annual conference where Dr. P and I presented on the 3 critical concepts for enhancing school board members and superintendent communication. We did 2 sessions there, and I also received an award for 200+ training hours. I attended the first Security Beardsley dinner, and lastly, the middle school band concert.
I know I'm thinking, while she was saying her things, I'm like, yeah, I did that too. I attended Indian Hills. I attended the high school and the middle school band concert. I too was at the ASBA conference, and then as well, I received an award for the hours that we received.
Go ahead.
All right. I too attended ASBA conference and also the first security dinner, which is always really nice to have a chance to fellowship. Also, with Miss Wonkum was there. She forgot that one, but she was there. And then I also took a interesting turn of events, and I signed up to help chaperone at the 7th, 8th grade Winter Wonderland dance. And it was fun. Very nice decor. It wasn't just like overly done. The music was good, and it was a real good event. And so I was happy that I had a chance to do that. And then after that, I ended up coming to the high school to help support the, help me, Dr. St. Louis, TSA lock-in. I was going to say lockdown, but that's not what it was. It was TSA lock-in, and a great group of high school students that put together this whole event themselves, and it was very well attended, and it was very supported by the staff, and they had a whole agenda, and it was very organized, and I was really, really surprised. But I saw one of my my good friends from COE, I think, Benjamin, and every time I see him at Kroger, he makes sure that he reminds me about this TSA lock-in that's coming up. So when I went in the other night, he said part 2, and I was like, hold on, pump your brakes, just time out. But it was a really good event, and I was really proud of them for all the organization and the hard work they put in. They got up, cooked breakfast and all that stuff. So I had a chance to enjoy that with them.
Ms. Williams.
Okay, I attended North Rock High School, COE. They had a very good conversation about that 4th period is blank, and they didn't know what to do with it. I also enjoyed the Care Fair, the Fair Wellness, and I think Miss Keller, she's not in here, but anyway, it was very good. And then welcome for Mr. Taylor, and thank you, Mr. Board Member. And then supported Kendrick Kelly, a former student of ours, at a gala affair that he had. Arkansas School Board Association, 11th through the 13th. I visited 3 schools for Christmas cheer, and I was at Glenview Elementary this morning from 8:45 to 11. Okay.
I don't think I can add anything. I think they've covered everything, and so I'll just pass it on to you. I did go to ASBA too and attended some different sessions than they mentioned, but overall it was a great conference.
I attended ASBA as well. Enjoyed it all 3 days. Learned a lot.
Okay, good shot.
Same for me.
And let me say real quick, just to brag on Miss Williams, the Bryant Choir had, as soon as they finished singing, they came down and had to take a picture with Miss Williams because they said that she was very sharply dressed, and they loved her fingernails, and they asked her to take a picture with her. So everywhere we went during that conference, Miss Williams was, you know, hot stuff in the city. She's because she know it.
There we go. Probably similar, many things that have been mentioned. Certainly in November, I did meet with Luke King and Lee Tackett from the Millage Campaign Committee and reflect upon the millage as well as what's coming up. We all been off on Thanksgiving break. On December the 2nd, I had the honor and the privilege to attend the North Little Rock Grinch Tour with Craig O'Neill at Indian Hills Elementary School. Virtual parent meeting on the 12th, the luncheon at Indian Hills that was also the self-care fair as well. Also mentioned the swearing in of our new board members, Mr. Taylor and Ms. Temple. Also met with Jay Cheshire and Marcus Jewett from the Little Rock Chamber about our expansion and around career academies. Our superintendent teacher advisory met on the 12th. We're working on a school culture and climate survey to send out in the middle of the year. I also, as mentioned, the ASBA conference and presented with my colleague, Dr. Redis, which was great. While you were receiving your award, I was next door at the Little Rock annual luncheon with Dr. St. Louis, Miss Tony. One of our juniors, Nathan Zukowski, is in the Baptist Health Career Academy of Health, Human Sciences, and Law, is an ambassador, and he was the only student represented in career academies at North Little Rock High School to speak to the chamber. And this gentleman did a phenomenal job and impressed so many people, including the governor, that when she came up to spoke, offered him a job on the spot. So kudos to Nathan. He's done a wonderful job in his career academy as a junior. Madam President.
All right. So I didn't see anything for legislative update.
No, ma'am. We'll go right into classified.
So classified personnel policy committee.
Which one is this, classified?
Yep, Ms. Cherry. Welcome, Ms. Cherry. It's good to have you back.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Is that okay? I'm assuming it's all right. Okay, the first thing I presented in the packet you received was our October 23rd minutes. That was basically a meeting between the committee and Dr. Paluski to discuss the chief of staff change in the salary schedule for the chief of staff position. And he met with us, did a presentation, and was very free with answering our questions. So we were very appreciative of that. The next meeting was November 12th. Sorry, I was on the wrong page. We went over the proposed revision to policy 8.0 about the non-retaliatory language, and that was presented last meeting by Ms. Jackson, and that was approved. There was some additional language that we discussed at the meeting, but did not proceed with it. It's still in discussions. It was approved at our last meeting, but I had a meeting with Ms. Barnes in communication about, I don't know if I got her name right. Is that the right name? Okay. My mind's slipping. Anyway, about revising our website. And after that conversation, some of that wording needs to be finessed. So I put the motion or the proposals on the back burner for that, because I don't want to come twice for the same policy. We discussed the calendar proposals that LPP sent over. The basic change was they wished to move the PD dates from before Christmas to 2 separate times. They call them, I believe they call them data days now, to review the data. And we didn't have an issue with that. And so we went ahead and approved it for the survey. Ms. Stumpenhouse and I developed the survey communications at the top to make sure that the classified staff knew that there was, yes, 2 less student interaction days, but that was 2 days would be made up with PD days that all classified staff would be involved in, so there would be no decrease in salary. I presented in your packet the little breakdown of the results of the calendar survey. It shows that both the classified and certified were on the same agreement as far as the options. Option 1, which is the days off being the days after the parent-teacher conferences. As you can see, it was 63 to 36, and it shows the breakdown of that. Classified was 92 to 70, and certified was 212 to 103. And 34% of the overall vote was classified, and 66 was certified. I also included, I believe at the last meeting, Mrs. Stumpenhouse mentioned as an answer to the question about the possibility of us not being able to use a minute calendar, an alternative minute calendar, and she responded that there had been an article in the newspaper. I included that article. I'm assuming that was the article she was speaking about, where Mr. Oliva, is that how you say his name? Oliva,
Secretary.
sorry. Had mentioned that he wished to have that discussion about the DNF schools not being able to have anything but the traditional 178 calendar, which just mean that the PD days, the 2 PD days that made up the difference, would just become student interaction days again. So that was what we discussed, and as far as the calendar options. And then we put on the back burner the proposal of a sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
Developing a goal, a way of setting goals for what we want to achieve after the new year. As far as defining those goals, we put that on the back burner because we had run out of time. The last thing we had on the minutes was Mr. Brown brought up a concern about salaries for driving smaller buses, and Mr. Smith said that he was working on that. And then there was some questions about job salaries titles as it relates to the fact that we had changed the title on the one salary schedule to chief, and Mr. Smith explained how the Director of Human Resources gets involved in placing those different jobs on the salary schedules. I think that includes everything. Does anybody have any questions other than the fact that why my brain canceled out on me?
You need a vacation, I think.
I'm sorry?
You've been working so hard, you need a vacation. It's coming. One more day.
Yes. I am waiting.
Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams?
Ms. Williams?
Okay.
Yes.
I see down here it says the multimedia facilitating graphic and website administrators, and this is very important, where are these job titles on the salary schedule? And Mrs. Smith is supposed to provide that information to you all. at
Yes,
your
he-
next. When
he
is
ex-
your next meeting?
We've had the meeting, for our December regular meeting
Did
last
you get
week.
the answer?
Yes, we did. It
Where's
was,
it in
like
here?
I said, it was basically, human resources, the director of human resources already had a salary schedule that he placed those jobs under that, already existed.
Did I miss those minutes? Did you turn those minutes in?
That was this month's.
I know this month. I'm reading.
They
what
haven't
was-
been approved. That was this month's minute, our meeting.
Okay,
We haven't approved those. We'll approve them at our next meeting in January.
and then
And
you
then-
bring it to us.
Yes.
Okay. I know you only had one thing in here, right? One report, November?
We had the October report when we met
Well,
with
I
Dr.
saw that.
Kaluski.
I was
Yeah.
talking about something fresh since this is December. That's all I was asking.
We haven't approved our minutes for December.
Okay.
So we'll bring those to the committee in January once we've approved them. They've gone out to the committee members to review. And then at the next meeting in January, I'll call for any changes or additions to them, and then we'll approve those. I'll call for an approval of the minutes.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very nice
Thank you.
report.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Except
Ms.
for
Chair.
the blank. Yes, sir.
No, I just said thank you, Ms.
Oh,
Cherry.
you're welcome.
Have a good holiday.
You too.
Okay.
LPPC will welcome Ms. Stumpenhouse. Welcome.
Thanks. Early Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thank you.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Getting in that spirit. I've got our November the 21st minutes to go over. You should have a copy of those on the agenda. We went over the stipend updates, and I think Brian Brown was there at the time, and we met with him and Mr. Smith about just getting that final recommendation to do the 20% of the stipends over the next 5 years. I wonder, just because 5 years is such a long time, board members could come and go, you know, inflation happens, things like that could happen. I just want to make sure that we take some kind of action to put it in place that says that these things happen. Whether or not I'm here to make sure they happen or you're here to make sure they happen, is there a mechanism we can put in place to make sure it happens? That's really
Sure.
the biggest thing that I don't know if there needs to be a motion made or what there can be to make sure that the 20% does happen over the course of 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, if it would be, my recommendation would be, I mean, when we get into that, and because that is a fiscal responsibility of the board, if there's going to be an increase, the board would have to vote on that and for the terms of whatever it is. So it would be formalized
Okay.
as a vote.
So could we, is the process then that we would ask that to be formalized, like, or?
Well, I
Like-
think as we get in through, you know, our budget, as when we come back, we're going to have a budget workshop with our board. This will be
Okay.
part of that as well. I think when we get to that, then we'll, if there's a recommendation that's made, then we'll take that up with the board as an action item.
Okay, great,
Sure,
great.
sure.
The second part was as Ms. Cherry talked about, the calendar and just that we'd work together to get that, and I think that's up for your approval tonight to pass for next year. The last piece was on the financial savings feedback that we have sent out, a survey to all the staff, and that's gone out. Tomorrow is the final day for people to put their input on that. We've had, as of this afternoon, I think it was like 165 responses. So you guys all have access to that now. I've shared that with all of you. So I would just encourage you, as you're making all these cuts and plans, just to read over and see where some of the patterns are throughout the district. I think there's been some decent suggestions just to kind of inform you of the temperature of where our staff are. So one of the things that's consistently that you will see is just the number of overhead that we've seen. I've shared some data with Ms. Wancombe about the directors, that we have a really high ratio of administrators. district administrators compared to other districts our size. Comparatively, we have a 1 to 220 ratio when you look at our current organizational chart, and that may not be necessarily up to date. I know we've lost a few people and things, so but currently how it is on the website. Whereas some of the other districts are sitting at 1 to 4 or 500, and Bentonville has 17,000 people, and they have a 1 to 800 ratio of district staff to students. So that's the big feeling on this campus or at this district that I get constantly from people, is that we're very top heavy. So I would just ask that that be in your considerations.
Yeah, just a quick question. So in those comparisons, was it taken into consideration the needs of those individual districts, number of campuses that are in high needs versus high poverty versus?
No. Gotcha. That was not just simple numbers.
Gotcha.
Simple
Just straight.
numbers, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank
Looking
you.
at organizational charts,
Sure.
counting up
Sure.
people versus the number of students that they have. But
Thank you.
yes, I totally understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
You have a question?
No question. Oh, I would like to report, this is a late report coming in because I did not, when I first got on this, I did not see it, and I didn't have opportunity to read it thoroughly, because I think you deserve more than that, because you work so hard. So, some kind of way, I would like to get the reports when I get the full reports, and not a day later. Now, am I saying that correct, Ms. Cole Quick? Because you post everything.
The report was sent in after, the LPPC report was sent after the agenda was posted.
Okay, so that's the only concern I had, because we have so much to read. But thank you anyway over the last minute.
Absolutely. And I have shared our drive so that Ms. Colquitt has access to it now anytime. So that because generally our secretary is the person who's supposed to turn in the minutes. And so I didn't realize she hadn't done that. And so I just shared our drive so that you can have access to it at any time.
Okay, but you understood what I was coming from, didn't you, Ms.
Yes.
Simmons? Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely.
Nothing further.
So you just have to make sure that Ms. Colquitt has that information so we can get it and read it and digest it ahead of time.
I also did not receive an email asking for it before the agenda went out.
You've been doing it all the time.
Well, I'm not the one that does it. It's our secretary's responsibility. So I'm just trying to follow up where other people.
Yeah, just I guess what we're saying is probably just maybe follow up with her to make sure that it is done and that she knows that it has to,
Sure.
get taken care of, so that way we can have an opportunity to look at it and be able to have a fair conversation with you about the information.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yep.
Well,
But
I
thank you.
saw it, but I log in and log out, and that way it updates when I log back in. And so if you've put something in since the last time I went and looked at it, it's there. So I was able to see it.
Same,
You could too?
yes.
And frankly, I mean, Mr. Smith sent me a text and said, hey, need your minutes. As soon as I got it, I immediately sent them to her. We had not yet received an email about the minutes. The agenda was not yet out, and I had already sent them to her prior to that coming out. So I don't understand why it didn't get added before they came out. So
It's all good. Everybody, just a mistake. I was just telling you how I feel.
I understand.
Talking about those
Well, you're holding me accountable, so I just want you to know the whole story.
I just like because I read everything.
Absolutely.
So I just like anything that I get for the board to be prepared to know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Summerhouse. Have a
Thank
great
you.
holiday.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, let's just jump right into our information items. We'll go quickly with some high-level overviews. 16.1 is the 2024 Atlas interim data, and I will welcome Dr. Brooke Reynolds, our coordinator of innovative virtual learning programs and data accountability, administrator, North Little Rock's utility player.
Swim coach.
Swim coach, bus driver.
Can't forget the bus driver.
And I know you're going to give it just a high-level overview, but welcome, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Paluski, Madam President, and school board members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our interim testing data for this school year. So, but the purpose of this presentation is to review the ATLAS, the Arkansas Teaching and Learning Assessment System, interim data for that first interim assessment we've had this year. We basically started giving that, finished up in December. So we started in November, given December, and this replaces the NWEA. So you will not see that data anymore. This is a replacement. And I'm going somehow the wrong way. Forward, Brooke. Okay, so just a little bit about this test. What you're seeing here is the ELA. We give it grades 3 through 10. There are 2 separate tests. There is a reading test and a writing test that students have to take. And you'll see there are 4 reporting categories that are tested in this one. In the math, there are also those reporting categories. This is for the 3 through 8. Those are the general math. The 6th grade test is split into 2 sections, one that calculators are in use and another section that calculators are not in use. Going with the math, then the 9th and 10th graders, and then some of our middle school students, excuse me, those are the reporting categories for our algebra and geometry test. Again, those are generally taken by 9th and 10th graders, but we do have some high-level 7th and 8th graders taking those tests. And lastly is our science, grades 3 through 10. Science students in grades 3 through 8, they are on those 3 categories. In general, the 9th graders do not take a science test unless they are an advanced student taking that biology, and those are the reporting categories for science. So this is a high-level overview of our district. So this is the interim test that we're taking for science, math, and ELA. And you can see, as I discussed before when I discussed our summative data from last year, anything in level 3 or level 4 is considered proficient. Anything in level 1 or 2 are the basic or getting close to that proficiency level. So that's how we look as a district for grades 3 through 10 for interim. And again, I've provided you the wording with that. Level 1 is limited, 2 basic, 3 is proficient, and 4 is advanced. So we're looking at our grade 3 ELA for interim. You can see the state proficiency for this is 22%, and our district proficiency comparatively is 14%. I just want to tell everybody, and we just had another meeting today at 1 o'clock with Desi, that these interims are kind of picking areas from all that students that are on the blueprint. So right now we're not seeing high scores because they may not have covered some areas yet, and that's expected. And that was reiterated in our meeting this afternoon. So even though the score of 14% seems low, we're going to be able to compare it when we give the interim again in February to kind of see how much we've grown, which is a good data point, and then again when we take the summatives in April. So as you can see here, kind of like when I presented our summative data, you're going to see kind of a recurring theme that Crestwood and Lakewood are above our state average. Our other schools still have a little room that we want to grow. 4th grade ELA, state proficiency 24, our district is 16. So again, close to that 10% mark, which we've seen that gap before. Again, like I said, Crestwood and Lakewood are above the state on that one. Grade 5, state proficiency is 26. Ours is 21, so we're really closer in 5th grade. But you can see also how those scores have bumped up at Lakewood and Crestwood, got really high for that 5th grade ELA. Yes, ma'am.
This ELA going to the scores like this, and they going to the middle school.
Yes, ma'am.
And the state says 26, and the district proficiency is 21.
Yes, ma'am.
How effective can they be, ELA students going to a middle school, and they're not proficient?
Correct. So that is something we need to probably address in the lower grades before they go to Mr. Clark in the 6th grade, because then he has even more of a task. So that needs to be something we address in those lower grades to be able to prepare the students going into middle school. That's something that would be a point that would be something we could look at.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So in the law, Ms. Williams, to your point, this year within 3rd grade, if a child is not proficient in reading in 3rd grade, they may be held back. They may be have to go to summer school, and they may even get a waiver to be able to do that. But to her point, it is the law does require that. But you're exactly right. I think we're all trying to close this achievement gap early on, so that as students progress,
like this in the future.
That's exactly right.
Because where we are now, I do know this is 24, 25.
Right.
But still, as I say, that is a concern of mine.
And I will say that some of our new district performance goals address that, and stating that we want our second graders to be proficient. So we are addressing that in those new district performance goals, that we want our second graders to be proficient before they're into that third grade and get into that kind of jeopardizing
and kindergarten
situation.
readiness, we've got a kindergarten we'll bring those back to you. But that's a great point.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's look at math. Okay, so this is a little bit of alarming, so we just have to put on our brakes for a minute and just take a deep breath. The state proficiency is 8% and district proficiency is 4%. So, unfortunately, we're seeing some zero proficient students at some of our schools. So that is some things we were going to have to address, and things we need to be aware of. And I don't want to make an excuse. Well, the state's not high either, but any way you look at it, it's not a great situation to be in. Okay, so grade 4 is a little bit better. We can look at, so the district's a little higher and we're a little higher. And Lakewood actually that's where they have a shining moment there. But again, we don't want we're seeing zeros at some schools, and that's alarming for us. Grade 5, a little bit better there. So, and then those of you that I know, when my child went from 2nd to 3rd grade, that's a big jump. Going from 2nd to 3rd grade is a big jump. The test is not read to them anymore. And there's a lot going on. So, it's kind of one of those, that 2nd to 3rd grade year is critical. But in 5th grade, it gets a little better here. So we're seeing at least some people have some sort of proficiency. Okay. Let's move on to science. So again, the state proficiency in science is 18. We're at 9. And now we're back to seeing a little bit more where we got some proficiency with all schools, and some students are having that success. Grade 4 science gets even a little bit better, 27% and 14. Again, we're seeing we're seeing all students. Every school has at least someone proficient, so we're getting there. And again, 24 and 16. And then we see a big jump with Lakewood and with Crestwood, where they've got a large percent. But again, there's some of the things they're seeing, they've not been taught yet, so we just have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the secondary schools. So you can see state proficiency in 6th grade is 28%, 25 in 7th, 27 in 8th, 28 in 9th, and 31 in 10th. We're looking at same kind of thing we saw in the summative, that the COE did have above the state average for 9th and 10th graders in that ELA test. And just a reminder, there's 2 tests, reading and writing, combined into 1 score. Looking at math, again, state proficiency for 6th grade is 23%, 27%, 17, 14, and 9. And so that's state proficiency in our math. Just a reminder, the scores you're seeing in yellow are the middle school students that are higher achieving students, which again, that's tracks from our summative data. That geometry score is alarming, that we have no students proficient. So it's something for us to think about and work on in that particular area. Looking at science, again, 26%, 29, 32, and 32. That biology, of course, is the one that's taken at the high school level. And you can see we're close in biology at the COE, but we still have room to grow in those. So next steps, and this is from the C&I department, the curriculum department, they're going to continue with Tier 1 instruction with a focus on those grade level standards, continue that data-driven and small group instruction, and progress in monitoring with the data analysis. Also, the district, which is again the curriculum team, supports schools with that effective planning, small group instruction, monitor feedback, and provide some targeted PD with those from the district adopted HQIM. And I'll go ahead and open the floor. I know Ms. Williams, she warned me, so I know it's coming. I'm ready, Ms. Williams. Go right ahead.
Okay. The question I had to ask you, you presented the proficiency of students.
Yes, ma'am.
But there was not a basic in the middle. Your report was fine, but the basic to letting us see what students perhaps could eventually go.
Get there, correct.
Get to proficiency. Now.
Okay, so I'm going to go back just a little bit here. And no, I don't have it broken down by the ones that are close. Excuse me for going so far back. There we go. Oh, and there we go. So this is overview, so it's not per school. But if you look at the Atlas Interim Science, of all of our kids, 50% of those are at level 1.
Okay.
And then 35% are at level 2. So that's not broken down by school in each one. Of course, we have that data and can definitely pull it, but that's kind of that high-level overview. For math, 70% of our students, grades 3 through 10, are not proficient. They're at level 1. 22% are at that level 2. And then back down to that ELA, 49% are at 1 and 34% are at level 2. But we do have access, if anyone's interested, to school by school, building by building, of all of the level 1 and 2 as well.
I would like to see that.
Okay, absolutely.
We also, not to get that deep, but we have it by individual teacher as well. We have the same report, so you can look at it by the teacher and the children that they're serving. They have a similar dashboard.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of turnaround was there? These kids took the test December 2nd.
No, they started. This is the date that I pulled the report.
Oh, that's the date you pulled.
This
is the one they took back in.
We get the results as soon as they hit the submit button. If that's what you were asking.
Oh, you get the results as soon as you hit a submit button.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
the teachers can look.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Immediately.
see immediately, and they can see the different areas
Yes,
where
ma'am.
each one of their students.
Those
are.
reporting areas that I showed you
Mhm.
in. These
Yes.
yeah, they can see that it's broken down in both those reporting areas. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, is how specific that was for them. But I should know that the whole idea of the atlas and all the testlets and everything that comes with it is trying to get specific so that teachers can see very specifically where
the deficit is.
Where the deficit is.
Let's show that.
Thank you.
Dr. Reynolds.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is a question I need to ask you, but I know that all the administrators are going to classrooms and they're doing the COBRA, following up with the principal. Then they're doing the walk around rounds. And then like if we have coaches that are teaching the math, the science, and the reading, what is basically their job to enhance these scores that we are looking at? Because I don't know if they'd have the principal or have the teacher. Oh, so where is
Well,
this?
our curriculum coaches, our curriculum coordinators who are back here in the room with us, of course, they work on a building level. They meet with the teachers during their PLCs. They sometimes will work with individual teachers. They'll go into the rooms and monitor and watch the lessons and provide them feedback after the lesson. So that's what we do on a large level. Now, some buildings also have some coaches within the buildings as well. They do kind of the same thing, but they're just dedicated to that building. Our curriculum coordinators are doing it on that high level for the whole district and visit the different buildings and meet with them and give them, help them with the new materials, their resources, those types of things.
That was good, what you said.
Thank you.
But I'd just like to see some
You told me in advance, so I was ready. I knew I cheated on the test.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
I see your next steps. Which one of those are all of them equal? Are there any of the 3 or the 5 or 6 that you need assistance with? Or can you draw, or will you be able to tell which one of these make the biggest impact on what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, I think as far as and I'm just going to get over there so I can speak to your question. There we go. So the school. So this is just on the school level. That Tier 1 instruction is just they need to make sure they're teaching every day. They're teaching those standards, those types of things. I think what's going to help them the most is that small group instruction, because from there, kind of like what Ms. McLean was asking, is like they can that next day can say, okay, Mr. Taylor, Ms. McLean, Ms. Williams, they're struggling with this one particular thing. I can pull my groups based on that, and that way, if you need help with something, I can focus that with you. But then I may need this group to focus on something else because they did well with you, what you may be struggling with. So I feel like that small group instruction is going to be probably the most key on the school level. And then if you look at our district level, I think being able to get our team being able to help them with that targeted PD as well, so they can really understand their material and what they've got to do. But I think that piece is what's going to be most important on the district level, the small group on the school level.
Are we set up to provide that, or do they have all the resources and everything that they need?
Do you guys want to answer that, or do you want me to? Okay, Ms. Langston will come up and speak. I don't mind, but I think you guys may do it. Well, I've been burning back there. Oh, good. Come on up.
You want to just state your name and your...
Oh, sure. I'm Carmen Langston, coordinator of elementary reading and integrated literacy. So we have actually been able to provide more PD, I would say, this year than we have in the past. So this year, especially in our 3rd through 5th grade, our literacy teachers have been coming out of the classroom to receive different types of PD. So they've received training in Wit and Wisdom, which is their ELA curriculum. We've worked with foundations training for the K-3 teachers. They all just received that. And then we are about to deliver some writing training for 3rd through 5th grade teachers to help them understand how to prepare those students for that Atlas interim writing and the summative writing. So we have been working on that, and I would say if I were looking at these and I were to rank them, number 1 is training. And often we hear our teachers are overwhelmed, but when we are able to get access to them, anytime they leave those trainings, we always hear such good feedback of, okay, now I understand. I'm so glad I was able to come today, and I feel prepared to teach, whereas before I was really struggling, but now I understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
Is there a way we can measure the success of the training versus the success of the kids in real time?
We haven't. I would say we would probably have to track that so to see who all went to what training and then what was the outcome of those. But our main goal with those trainings is to make sure that anybody who didn't get it within the past 3 years, we had to make that up this year. So we've had these adoptions for quite some time. So when we did those adoptions, we had a certain number of teachers at that time who were hired. So they had the training. But we've hired many more people since then, and they had not had it. So we were making that up for them.
It would be nice to be able to see.
Yeah, no, what I was just going to add is on the backside of this, when we do training with teachers and they get trained on a specific strategy or an approach, that's where this whole notion of observing the classroom. So what we should see when we observe is that teacher is transferring that skill in daily instruction. That's why we spend an enormous amount of time in classrooms collecting feedback, giving the teacher feedback. That's one. That would be a qualitative measure that we would be looking at to look at, is that teacher actually implementing the strategy, program, whatever, with the fidelity of the intention of it. Then we should see a direct result or a correlation that something's happening on the quantitative side of the measurements that we're looking at, like these interims, these kind of checkpoints, these testlets along the way, that what we're doing and intervening is actually making a difference. And if it's not, then we need to retool and relook at in real time what approach do we need to take differently, because it's not working for little Greg as an example.
And speaking exactly to that, we did some data analysis at the beginning of the year, not with this data, obviously, because we didn't have that, but with our screener data for our 4th and 5th grades. I went around to each school and we analyzed the data that came in, and I will tell you that there's two particular teachers that I have watched over the course of these past 3 years, and they have implemented everything that we have asked them to do in these trainings. When I go in their classroom, I see evidence of it on the walls, in their instruction, at the small group table, and those 2 teachers that implemented everything we asked had the high scores.
Thank you.
Good job.
That's good information.
Madam Chair. Oh, she's good.
Are there as many visits in the classroom as there were? I know when this all started a couple of years ago, and y'all were going into classrooms, the coordinators, the principals, the assistant principals, everybody was going. I guess I'm saying this generally to all of you that are sitting out there. Is that still occurring, that y'all are going in these classrooms and observing as much as you were, or maybe even more? Or?
I would say it's even more now. Like Agnes is saying, for principals, they are asked to do 10 observations a week, and they give feedback with that. Many of the principals ask their building coaches to do the same if they have a literacy coach. We also have the state coaches at our DNF schools that work with our K-3 teachers. So they are going in, they're modeling, they're planning with teachers, but they're going in and observing and giving feedback. And then you have us. So oftentimes when we come into the schools, we'll walk with either the coach and support them in giving appropriate feedback, or the principal and walk with them so that they know what is it that I should see during this ELA lesson.
Thank you.
Yes, back to you. How frequently do you all go in schools?
Every day, pretty much every day.
All math, science, every day?
I can speak for myself and at Miss Chris. We are assigned at 2 separate schools that we're heavily supporting, and then we're supporting the rest as well. But for myself, I support Boone Park and Glenview, and I'm there 3 consecutive days of the week. And with my other days, I support the other schools.
And what do you do?
I'm the elementary reading coordinator.
Reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we got 6 schools continuously that are not going up to par, and I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have hired coaches to assist, because I have a clear understanding, reading documentations every week that Ms. Colquitt put out. It says every director says and tell what they are doing. They say they're meeting with the principals, with the COBRA, letting them know their needs and what they're supposed to be doing. And then they come back. Then they're doing the walk around in the schools every week. Then with that, I'm saying with all of this support, when do you all come in to assist the teachers? Where are you? Because I'm being honest, what I'm seeing and what I just saw is not a reflection of what we're really trying to do. And so what do you have as a suggestion? I guess that's what I'm asking you.
For me?
Yes.
I would say, and this would be my suggestion, we do need to see more implementation of the things that we're asking or the things that we're training on. So seeing that implemented within the classroom. And oftentimes teachers come and they understand in the moment, but then you get in front of kids and what you understood maybe leaves you, and so you still need support. They need to hear it more than once. They need that support again and again and again to where they get confident with it and get smooth, and they deeply understand it. So it just takes support over time. And we are oftentimes starting out with a fresh batch of teachers in many buildings. So our average teacher, I believe, is 6 years is what our average teacher overall. If you average the experience together in North Little Rock, it's a 6-year average.
Could some of you other coordinators come up here and speak to this question that she's just asked? Maybe y'all have some other things you'd like to add to what Ms. Langston has just said.
Where's the math person?
Right there. Miss Debbie.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Higgins. I'm the secondary math coordinator. Dr. Paluski, Madam President, thank you for this opportunity. To follow up with Ms. Langston in terms of the time that we spend in the classroom and the follow-up, and it's a continual process through observations, through feedback, through conversations of best practices, and then next steps that we hope to see implemented in the classroom. So those are the things that are continually going on. 7-8 campus and the high school, geometry is the definite focus area right now. And the things that are going on in terms of the training and the arch forward opportunities that we're using to bring back and streamline the DOK levels that we're using in the classroom, the exposure to the types of questions they're going to see on the atlas, are all our focus areas right now. So it's ongoing and it's a daily process. Hopping around the 5 secondary campuses as much as possible, but it's especially the 7, 8, and the high school, and COE. So that's
Where's
from the
other
secondary
person?
math.
Miss Val, she said, where's the other person? Just math and science here? There she is, right there. Come on down.
So remember, we do not currently have an elementary math coordinator.
Okay. Because the basic question that she answered was perfect. I'm trying to, what I'm looking for, I'm just trying to say, what do we need to do? Because we have the coaches and you all on board. Because when we look at the scores as board members, we're not seeing, it's still always 6 schools that are not progressing.
Yes.
Okay, so the question I asked, and you heard it,
Yes.
would you answer that for me, please?
I'm Agnes Cruz, coordinator of secondary literacy. I will say consistency. I can speak for me. I'm one person. A lot of the coaches, and there's a lot of coaches in supporting the elementary grades. Us in secondary don't have as much. So I am, for example, like she said, at the campuses in 7, 8, 3 days a week. So I say what we ask as a coordinator is the consistency. When we're with the teachers, it happens, but if we go to another campus a couple of days and we come back, so that in between is where I guess we would ask for is the consistency of it. They can keep going at it, and if it's hard work. Teaching a 9th grader who reads at a 2nd grade level is rough. I've done it for 30 years, but it's the consistency of it, and just to celebrate the small wins with the kids, because our kids need to also understand that they can do it. It's just going to take some time, and just putting that data that we show the teachers, put it in front of the students also, because they change their tune when they see. It's like, well, that's not me. I can do better. So it's the consistency of it, just continuing to remind them, this is what you learned, this is what we're doing. A lot of times the teachers come to us, we train them, it's great, they go in front of the kids and it doesn't work, and they're like, well, that didn't work, I'm not gonna do it. With secondary kids, it's that consistency. Either you wear them out or they're gonna wear you out. So it's just that consistency of the message and the strategies that we're teaching them, because we see them working when we're there. It's just that consistency piece. Does that answer your question?
Okay, Doctor, thank you, Reynolds and Dr. Horton and you all. I just wanted the clarity because something needs to be done. That's all I got to say to you, and thank you.
But we're getting better, I do want to say. With this new assessment, the kids are getting used to it, the teachers are getting used to it, it's all new. We see that, they're getting better. It's just, it's a lot with this new test, and it's all new, but we see it. It's gonna get there.
Any other questions?
Just real quick, when you were speaking to the consistency and as far as the teachers, I guess what I want to ask, are you like making yourselves like available if they feel like, hey, this isn't working, so I can reach out to Ms. Langston, I can reach out to Ms. Cruz, I can reach out to whomever to feel like, you know, I can, let's try something else, and then, but at the same juncture, I guess what I'm hearing is making sure that we're also holding everyone accountable for making sure that they're being consistent and that consistency piece is happening.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can try to work together to try to pull those scores up.
I would say yes. The teachers have become really comfortable. I would say with all of us. I get emails, calls, texts. Many of them have my phone number.
Yes.
And I'll hop in the car and go on over if it's something that I don't feel like I can explain, you know, through writing. If I'm not somewhere, I'll hop in the car and go explain it. If I can't get over there, then a lot of times I'll make a video and I will give them my feedback that way. This is how you do it, and that way they can see it. So they're very comfortable reaching out to us.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear, because you know, when you were saying, we're kind of speaking to, you know, speaking with older children, you know, like, okay,
Yes.
that part didn't work, but okay, so are we like throwing our hands up and saying,
Yes.
okay, that didn't work, we're gonna put that toy in the drawer now. So, you know, just making sure that they understand that they can reach out to you and have that feedback component.
And many of
there.
them do that this year more so than before. They, at least for me, they call, I could be in a classroom and they call, I need this didn't work, what can we do? So it's getting better, it's just getting every time.
Yeah. And I guess it's kind of, you have to re-preach that same sermon over and over.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
One more question to y'all. I was just wondering your reaction when you see the results, how you're feeling or what you're thinking, or
I'll use Dr. Reynolds' comment earlier with the geometry. It's alarming. It really is. And the immediate reaction in terms of this interim covers all of the standards. We haven't taught all of the standards. Okay, well, let's look at which ones we have taught, because obviously 0 is 0. And so that was the immediate focus. We have covered these topics. These standards are included in these topics. Let's talk about mastery of the standards and if that occurred in the classroom. And then are we seeing that follow up on the Atlas results? So those conversations are ongoing, and including the instructional best practices to support the teachers. The student engagement in math at the secondary level is huge. That's a major focus area. And one thing that I stand by, you know, if the students aren't thinking, they aren't learning. And so that's where we have to really mold our teachers into getting the students involved, engaged in the instruction, in the learning, and not just listening to a teacher preach to them, give direction. And so that's a shift at the secondary level especially.
Yes.
Because the secondary students are fine with just sitting back and letting the teacher stand up there and talk, but are they truly learning? So that message is ongoing, because obviously the results aren't where we want them to be. The importance of these interims, I think, is a constant conversation, because that's one of the feedback that I've received from the teachers, is that the students just didn't take it seriously. And so then what can we do to ensure that they see the importance of and how that's going to drive the instruction and help them move forward and progress? And so it's those conversations that we, you know, we start with the teachers and obviously in the classroom with the students, and seeing the importance of doing your very best, because we're better than a 0. We definitely are better than a 0. We have to get that over to our students in what we're doing with this data to help them succeed.
We have the same struggle at the elementary level as well. That's why I'm mostly surprised by the scores, because I am in the classrooms often and I've seen so much progress with our readers.
Yes.
The kids are now enjoying reading. They want to pick up a book. They want to discuss, and they're engaging in such rich conversations in these classrooms about the reading topics that they're going over. And then we get, I can see their classwork is growing as well. So then you get the computerized score, and it's not what you would expect to see. And I've spoken to kids and said, did you really try? And they're like, you know, I tried on some of them, that then I got tired and I picked.
Just start marking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's hard for them to see the importance of it when it's not tied to grades or passing, things like that.
In secondary, we're doing that. It's the same thing. I looked at them and I just decided to focus on, let's see what we can do, because it breaks it down by standards. So I met with a group of teachers at the 7-8 campus, and I specifically told them, let's not look at the overall. We got to look at this kid's individual and what did we do, because the Atlas gives you a report that shows you what they did best and where they did worse. So we looked at those two areas and we showed the kids this question. Let's look at this question together as a class. And they're like, oh, the answer is that. Yeah, but on the test, the majority of you said something different. So just having the, especially with the secondary kids, they have to see it in a different light, and it's building stamina. We're working a lot with secondary teachers to build the kids' stamina to take the test, because a lot of them are like, well, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm not gonna read all that, that's a lot of reading. So that was our kind of like response to it.
That's kind of where my mindset is.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
pivot for a second. Where are we holding our students accountable? Because I'm hearing we're teaching our teachers.
Yes.
Our teachers are getting it, they're doing their job, they're doing well, and then our students have it for maybe 5 minutes, and then they go home, they blow it off, and then we're suffering. as a district.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're being blown apart for it. So when are we going to start holding the parents and the students accountable? And where does that begin? When does it start? Why have we not done that already? And what are we going to do to fix it? Because in my opinion, and as a mother of 3, my children were at the dinner table doing homework until 9 o'clock at night, if that's what it took to get it done. I'm old school. Debbie knows this. I am a strong stickler when it comes to education. And it ticks me off, some of these parents who will run their kids around town to all these sporting events that they haven't done their homework. You know what? I'm right outside. My address is on the website. Come have a conversation with me.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
needs to be accountability. This is ridiculous. I see it at the high school, no accountability. I see it at the junior high. I see it at the elementary. And I see them running the streets. And then I read about them on social media. So where's the accountability for our students and our parents? Who's calling the parents saying, hey, do you know your child acted out today? Hey, do you know your child did not do this? They're missing their homework? What's going on? Chaps my hide.
I have really enjoyed listening to y'all. I wish we had more opportunities like that to visit with y'all, and even with some teachers, bring some teachers. We've had teachers in here before that we've been able to visit with, and it's always great to get your point of view and what you're seeing there, because you're at ground zero there, where the rubber meets
Come
the
on
road.
walkthroughs with us.
Yeah. What?
Come on walkthroughs with us. We can walk classrooms together.
Yes. So
I'm sorry.
anyway, I thank y'all for being open with us and having this discussion, because we're all kind of grappling with this together, and we will get through this together. And I really appreciate y'all, and I appreciate all those teachers that I know are out there doing their best with these standards that we have. And like you say, we've got to get used to the atlas now and how things are going to be done that way. And it's just going to take some time there, too.
Dr. Reynolds, I have one last question for you. How about the 10003 reflect in our curriculum?
I'm not sure what.
Dr. Hooper, in your report,
Are you talking about 1003 funds? 1003? So 1003, that's what it's referred to in the State Department. And 1003 funds are specific funds that are given to schools that are in state level of school improvement. So we have 5 schools that are in state level of school improvement. So that money is allocated to each one of those campuses based upon the needs, based upon the data, and it's allocated. Much of that is used through consultants that the state has required that basically for consultants to come into the school rather than for folks to go out in professional development. So those funds are only specific to the 5 schools that are in state level school improvement.
thank you, and you didn't know that?
I did not know what the 1003. No, I
Okay,
didn't.
that's what the
it's
administrators are dealing with.
It's referred to
They have
That'll
all
be
of
my
this
homework.
good information
1003.
letting us know about what is going on in the schools as far as budgets and all of that. So y'all did a good report.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Just real quick, Ms. Higgins, what you said was to me very poignant, and it made me think of a movie. I'm sure probably everybody in here have seen it. When Joe Clark stood on that stage and he made it known as the building principal that this particular assessment was something that was important and that they should take serious, and this was something that everybody need to sit and do their best on. And he didn't just get up there and say it right before the test. He got up there and he had that sermon. He re-preached that sermon and re-preached that sermon, and it was like a whole advertising thing around that campus as far as this was something that was important. So we maybe wouldn't have that, oh, I'm tired of reading that, and I'll just start marking C down the middle, because that don't work.
And the message has been, we have to practice how we're going to play.
Right.
And that constant message for our students, because that, once again, supports the instruction supports their progress and their performance in the future. So that's definitely the,
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm
Thank you,
going to jump in
ladies.
real quick and just say one thing. I did notice on the scores, where Crestwood and Lakewood really stood out. And in one of our reports, I saw that the volunteers at those schools were through the roof. And what that tells me is adults in those kids' lives make a huge difference. And while we may not be able to hold the kids, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. I mean, you can't hold them accountable to learning. You can't force parents to do something. We can continue to reiterate how important that is and how much that helps and what a difference it makes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Merry Christmas.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, next information item is 16.2 of the 2024 annual report to the public, which will be presented by the high-level overview of Mr. Barnes. And I do believe Mr. Barnes, do we have, we've got yes.
Yes. And he gave it to us last week.
Mr. Barnes, welcome. Hit us up.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I just want to come here and just talk about the annual report. The state says that we have to present this to the public and to the board, and so I wanted to, so that we are compliant with that. That is what this is. It is a snapshot of the 2023-2024 school year. Takes a look back, and it also, in our busy lives, things are going on. Sometimes it allows you to look back and see how far you've come. And it also provides you with an idea of where you would like to go. So that's what the annual report is.
Okay.
This is, again, this document is available. You were provided that link through the presentation. Excuse me, but you also see that it has a kind of a student profile. It shows the demographics of our district, which you see that we are a very diverse district, which I think is our strength. On the next slide here is our financial information. I'm just kind of reporting what is provided to me. So if you have information on financials, that's more of a Mr. Brown question, but I just wanted to provide you with the information on the revenue and then what was spent over last year. Child nutrition report, again, you know that all of our students last year ate free breakfast and lunch, and that's because our district participates in the community eligibility provision, and so all of our students, no matter their income levels, eat free at our buildings. Some of our district happenings, you all know, you've heard Jonah so many times, but that is something that we will celebrate. He had earned the perfect score on the ACT and also on the PSAT, so that's one of the highlights of the school year. We had some students recognized from the College Board National Recognition Programs. There are some other events that occurred throughout the year, and this is 2 pages in the annual report. Kind of nice size font because I wanted to include a lot of it, but we have a lot of things to celebrate in our school district. Next, we hosted the Class 6A state tournament last year, basketball. And so we hadn't done that in a while, and it was packed crowds each night. So that's something to celebrate. Also, our pre-K program, we talked about, the coordinators just talked about how we want to reach our students earlier, making sure they're proficient in those literacy areas. And so our pre-K program has been recognized for doing some of those things, kind of preparing our students for kindergarten and those higher grades. This is a snapshot of the class of 2024. You know that we recognize, we had a commencement graduation for our spring graduates and also for our summer graduates. So, delayed but not denied. They still graduated, so we still want to celebrate them. So you see that picture there at the bottom there from our our graduates, seniors who graduated in the summer. Again, that's some of the achievements. 85 honor graduates. 45 of our graduates enlisted in the armed forces, so we thank them for their service. The annual report also must contain information about your training hours, and you all talked about earlier about Master Board Award that you won because all of you have attained a certain number of hours for training hours, so this is just an information on that. And of course, Mrs. Taylor, since you just joined, you're not on here yet, but we'll see you in the next board annual report. Again, this is just a link that provides you to the annual report. And are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I want to commend you.
Thank you.
This is an excellent report. I compared it to another district that came out in Sunday's paper,
Yes, ma'am.
and you walked and you didn't miss anything.
Thank you.
And I want to tell you, you are up. And when I read it, I only had one thing though I wanted you to add.
Okay.
Not add, the book's already been printed, but in that I felt like you could have divvied a little bit more into why we early get out on early release days during the semester, and it just says to allow teachers and administrators additional time for data analysis, but I felt like to get that data the way you would put it everywhere in this documentation, it should be more specific. You know, what is that data that you're
wording,
trying to analyze?
More of wording, okay.
And all of the things, good things that's happening in our school, you walked it.
Thank you. I
Walked it.
appreciate
It
it.
made me feel good. You didn't miss a lick
Thank
on
you.
anything and anybody. And it's just so awesome. That's all I can tell you. I read the whole thing and had it printed too and highlighted everything.
All right,
But
thank you.
this is the first time that I have been impressed with your documentation.
All right, thank you.
And thank you.
Wait, the first time?
I did down.
The first time.
I just,
Wow. Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
want
I
to say,
appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you for using the picture that you use for the board instead of the ones on our website. I appreciate that.
Okay, I try to differentiate. When I have when I have all of you, I try to get something. So, but thank you.
You got everything.
And I do want to commend Mr. Barnes as well, because as we've said, we're going to start communicating more of our vision and mission. He's done a very good job of that. Our moral purpose, what our 5 areas of focus are. I love the graduate profile that you read at every board meeting. Like, this is what we're about. He's also working on a strategic plan document that's going to follow this in more detail, but it starts to show who we are and what we're about and what we're focused on.
Absolutely.
You were good. You rocked it. I'm
Thank
not
you.
ashamed anymore. You know, when I first got the little thing, and then I
Well,
hit
you
that
remember I
little
did
link,
this last year as
I
well.
hit that
so.
link. I got happy.
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
When can
Barnes.
we send this out to every resident? Are we?
Well, we'll send it. I'll put it in the board report that goes to all of our families tomorrow. So I'm working on that now.
But you're talking about mailing it.
Yeah,
That's-
paper,
that's,
paper copies.
We'll have to get a cost on what that would take to mail a flyer out to families. I do think it's a good idea to mail it, just like the city does. That city,
Yes.
and we've
need
talked
that.
about.
City report or whatever.
Yeah, the city report that comes out. We want to be doing the same thing, so we'll run the numbers on that. And I do agree to get it out. I think it's part of our marketing plan.
Okay.
Good job,
Something
Mr.
that
Barnes.
Thank you.
Need to be published.
I really enjoyed reading that. When I did get a physical copy of it, I was just like, this is really some good stuff in here. And it was clear, it was concise, and it was some really, really good information in there.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
definitely time for us a new picture, but yeah.
We'll work on it.
Good job, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Barnes.
Mr. Barnes.
All right. Thank
I was thinking of the budget when he was talking about the.
Mr. Barnes, that's Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. We'll just keep on rolling. Information item 16.3, North Little Rock School District Middle School course request for 25-26. And we'll welcome Dr. Harbin, the curriculum team, Ms. Hampton, Ms. Clark, Ms. Higgins. And they're just going to give a high-level overview of proposal. So, with that, if everybody state their name and your title, and then go for it.
My name is Amber Harbin. I'm the coordinator of science, environmental literacy, outdoor education, and advanced programs.
I'm Debbie Higgins. I'm the coordinator of secondary math.
I'm Elise Hampton. I'm the principal of the 7th and 8th grade campus.
Michael Clark, principal, North Little Rock Middle School, 6th grade campus.
All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and jump on in. So good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Polisky, happy holidays. So tonight we're going to present to you proposed changes to some of the advanced middle school pathways. And the reason for this is to better align to the new Atlas summative testing system, to improve academic rigor and preparedness, to ensure access and opportunity for all students, to streamline communications with our families and our students, to support teachers in delivering advanced instruction, and then to foster long-term student success. And then just a few kind of definitions before we go into what we're presenting. So when we talk about on-grade level classes, these focus on the Arkansas Department of Education grade level standards for whatever course. Those are on grade level. When we discuss advanced coursework, we're still discussing on grade level standards, but we're talking about going at a deeper level with the creative thinking, the cognitive rigor, the problem solving task, and then we're also presenting accelerated courses, which is moving through the standards at an accelerated pace. And so just share some of those definitions. We looked at a breakdown of kind of a multi-tiered support system. Grade level courses are appropriate for 80% of the student population, about 10 to 15 advanced level coursework, and 3 to 5 typically for accelerated coursework and a normal distribution of students.
So for the accelerated math, I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, I think you're supposed to handle this. But I'll chime in anytime.
So one of the new courses that we are proposing is a Accelerated Math 6. So as Dr. Harbin mentioned, we currently have a regular 6th grade math and an advanced 6th grade math class. So adding an Accelerated Math 6, this, based on past data and current data, this would target about 25 students that would meet this criteria. As Dr. Reynolds mentioned earlier, we're looking at those level 4 kids on the Atlas exam. That's what we're targeting, the ones that are scoring on that higher end. This accelerated criteria, they would have to meet a very rigorous criteria that other students would not. That would be an algebra readiness exam. Some of you may have heard like the Orleans-Hanna exam. That's a common one. Not saying that that's the one that we would use, but something of that nature. And they would have to score 85% or higher, or they would have to score a level 4 on the Atlas summative. Then they would also have to have both of these, a teacher recommendation from their, and this is of course coming to 6th grade, from their 5th grade teacher, and have a student math efficacy and interest survey. And that would be done with the student and the parent, because the parent's going to have to support the child in this particular course, because as it's saying, it is accelerated, because they're going to cover not only the 6th grade standards, they're also going to cover, hopefully, a portion of the 7th grade standards in one school year. So that's the 6th grade math class.
So then we have Accelerated Math 7. So if a student goes into Accelerated Math in 6th grade, the next place for them to go would be to Accelerated Math in 7th grade. So in 6th grade, the Accelerated Math would be all of the 6th grade standards plus half of the 7th grade standards. And then Accelerated Math 7 would be the rest of the 7th grade standards plus 8th grade standards. So they would get a blend of the 7th and 8th grade standards, and actually they would finish up their 8th grade standards in this accelerated math class. That is huge because that is currently not happening on our campuses. So what's occurring right now is students can either take regular 7th grade math or an advanced 7th grade math. They can take regular 8th grade math or an advanced 8th grade math, or they can take Algebra 1 or geometry. If they take Algebra 1 in the 7th grade, they miss all of their 7th grade standards. If they move on to geometry for 8th grade, they additionally miss their 8th grade standards. So they miss 2 years of math standards. On the other hand, if they take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade, they're only missing 1 year of standards, but they're still missing standards. This accelerated pathway would allow us to ensure that students are able to go faster, which we want students to have the option to do, but they will also have the opportunity to get all of their standards. So I just mentioned Algebra 1, pre-AP Algebra 1. So right now, we have the option for students to take Algebra 1 in 7th grade or 8th grade. For a student who takes Algebra 1 in 7th grade, that means that student is accelerated 2 years. And if you were looking at the data that Dr. Reynolds presented, we have about 75 students who are currently taking Algebra 1 in the 7th grade, which is fewer students than we previously had taking Algebra 1 in the 7th grade, but it's still a really large number. So if you look at school districts that are near us, if you look at Pulaski County, Conway, Bryant, and then go up to Northwest Arkansas and Springdale, they only have a handful of students who are taking Algebra 1 in the 7th grade. And the reason why they only have a handful of students taking Algebra 1 in the 7th grade is because only a handful of students are actually that ready to be accelerated 2 years. So what we're proposing is that instead of students taking Algebra 1 in 7th grade, they are taking accelerated math in 7th grade, which ensures that they get all their 7th grade standards and all their 8th grade standards, and then they take an accelerated Algebra 1 course in their 8th grade year.
So moving to Accelerated Science 6, what this course would do is be married to the Accelerated Math 6. So the concurrent enrollment, accelerated math pathway, those students that meet that criteria would also be placed in the Accelerated Science 6. So essentially it's the same criteria, but they would, be placed in the Accelerated Science 6 classes. So again, those students would be learning all of the 6th grade science standards quickly and then jump into, in the 6th grade school year, the 7th grade science standards and cover a portion of those.
So the students that go into accelerated science in 6th grade would then be on track to go into accelerated science in 7th grade. And so we would just continue what started in 6th grade. So they would take the rest of their 7th grade standards, and then they would do all of the 8th grade standards in this accelerated science 7th grade class. And then they would be prepared to move on to their physical science class in their 8th grade year. This is really important because the state recommends that students take physical science in conjunction with Algebra 1. And so this would ensure that students are taking physical science in conjunction with Algebra 1 in accordance with the state's recommendation.
And that goes along with, math is the language for science, and so if we're aligning those courses properly, the algebra that they're learning in those classes then supports the physics and the physical science that they are prepared for in that 8th grade physical science course. And again, like she said, that's based on DESE's recommendation as well. And then finally we have Gifted and Talented Seminar Year 2. This is just a continuation of what the board approved last year. We brought back GT Seminar Year 1 for 7th and 8th graders at the 7-8 campus. We did have 7th graders who enrolled in that course and expressed interest in enrolling in it as an 8th grader. And so this would be to add this Year 2 course. We will provide a scope and sequence to show the differentiation between those two courses, but that is more of an independent research-based study. And so this would just be adding that second pathway for those students who are interested as 8th graders. And then here we have additional information. So what does this look like? We have additional documents. We also have flow charts in here. What we want to emphasize that these pathways will have multiple entry points, and it's all about student need and student readiness. And so even if a student isn't taking advanced coursework in middle school, That does not prevent them from taking advanced coursework as a high school student. When they are ready to take those advanced classes, those offerings are still there, and you can follow that flow chart. So even if they did on grade level 6 science, on grade level 7 science, on grade level 8 science, they can still take physics in high school. They can still enroll in AP Chem. And so those options are available for those students, but again, going back to interest, readiness, and the needs of the student.
And for math especially, also, the flow chart shows we don't want to stifle any of our students or not give them the opportunity to take those upper level math courses, Cal AB, Cal BC, and those opportunities are still there. There is a very small handful of our students, once again, that are ready and they need that push early on. But the opportunity to double up with geometry and algebra 2 for those that are looking at taking AP Stat, AP Calculus. So all of the opportunities are still there. And when we look at the data, which is a strong interest right now, in terms of accelerating or pushing our students too soon when they're not ready for those courses, it affects their results on the assessments. In math, we have 3 levels, grade levels of students taking geometry, and our geometry scores are at the 7th and 8th grade level. Once again, 8th and 9th grade level. Once again, not excusing the 0 that's there, because that's definitely a concern. But part of this is in terms of the flow and when students start those high school level math courses early on. We want to meet their needs and their readiness for those courses. All right. Questions?
So does this mean that geometry would no longer be on the 7th, 8th grade campus?
So what we would be looking at is there would be just a handful of students who need that geometry course. So that gives us some flexibility. What that could look like is we may have a teacher that teaches a class of 5 to 10 students geometry in the 8th grade, or we can partner with the high school and transport students to the high school. So we already do a little bit of that with athletics. So it would be the same thing with academics. We could transport students to the high school to take that geometry course. But the main thing is that it would only be a handful of students, because developmentally, only a handful of students are actually ready to take that geometry course in the 8th grade.
So they're going to take accelerated math in the 8th grade.
Yes, so it'll be accelerated algebra 1 is what they would take. And that's going to ensure that they get all of their standards. So what's happening right now on our campus is we have students who are jumping into algebra 1 and they're not ready for it, because they haven't had their 7th grade standards. They really need those 7th grade math standards to prepare them for algebra 1. Now, we do have some kids that even without those 7th grade math standards, they're doing okay. And that's the handful of kids that we want to make sure that we're still providing an opportunity. So they will still have the opportunity to take geometry in the 8th grade, but with the assessments that we're going to be taking to determine students' readiness, we do think it'll only be a handful of students who are taking it.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah.
2 questions. One, on the gifted and talented class, about how many students are interested in the seminar too?
So currently she has 3 sections of it, and I honestly don't know the makeup of 7th and 8th graders. But we could get that information for you.
I was just curious.
Yes.
And for these courses, we already have the teachers for them?
Yes.
And this training that is required for these, the state does provide at no cost. So it would be at no cost to the district. A lot of how you get through a massive amount of standards is that you have to really implement differentiation strategies. So compacting curriculum, pre-assessments, telescoping. And so those are things that we'll have to train teachers on in order to be successful at implementing the number of standards that will be required in some of these courses.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Ms. Walker was going to go.
Okay, Ms. Walker, I
So,
apologize.
For clarification, we're not getting rid of geometry. We're just
No.
adding, because we just sat through a presentation that said we're geometry deficient, excuse me. So I just want clarification that we're not getting rid of it, we're just adding another base layer of math in order to prepare them. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Okay. Go to Algebra 1 and AP Algebra 1 and tell me if a student is in accelerated or advanced math, 6th and 7th grade, would they be going to pre-algebra or would they be going to Algebra 1?
That's an excellent question. It's actually pre-AP Algebra 1, so it's not pre-algebra. Pre-algebra used to be the 8th grade class before they took Algebra 1. So it's, and you can speak to this with the College Board, the shift in our advanced placement classes, they're adding that AP Algebra 1, or pre-AP Algebra 1. So it's still an Algebra 1, but it's at the pre-AP level.
Next question. Are we calling advanced courses in middle school accelerated? And in high school, they're going to be called pre-AP?
So at the middle school level, we would have on grade level, advanced, and accelerated. And then when you get to high school, when they present here in a moment, they'll kind of walk through what they're presenting. And that's where that Algebra 1 / pre-AP Algebra 1, that's why the slash is there, because they're proposing the change in the courses, and if that's approved, then we will follow that model, because we're trying to make a kind of a cohesive pipeline. We're looking at, what we're feeding into the high school from the middle school, so what are they doing, and we're going to mirror that at that level. So that's why there's 2 names there currently, based on what they're going to present and that being approved going forward.
Okay. One last question. Go to Gifted and Talented GT. It says GT seminar year 1 was introduced to 7th and 8th grade students for the 24-25 school year to provide continuity for current 7th graders in GT seminar. I who wish to continue the 8th grade, a follow-up course that builds on year 1 is needed. What is needed? What is a similar course is taught in 7th grade for a follow-up year? What would you be teaching the following year? You said you didn't need to hire additional people, but what additional skills would they be getting to for the second year?
Sure. And so we are currently working with Ms. Heather Theodore, who is the current GT seminar, to kind of scope out what that looks like. And so it's a continuation of independent research. Also, so we're looking at bringing on mentors as a second year option. So not only are the students continuing research that they started in 7th grade, but now we're bringing in outside to really support that independent study. We're looking at adding some different PSAT practice prep in there for students. So helping them prepare as 8th graders for some of those accelerated, or how do I become a National Merit Scholar? What does that look like? So starting them in 8th grade, kind of figuring out some of their pathways that they might be interested in high school. So those are 2 additions that we will be definitely putting in the scope for that second year of GT seminar.
Okay. Thank you. Because I was just answering what?
I don't necessarily have a question. I just want to say that I appreciate not forgetting about the students who may be on a different level, and they're just as important as the ones that may need more support, that we're not leaving a group of students that may be ready to go to another level, leave them behind either. So, and then I like what you spoke to as far as the trying to mirror and make it cohesive, so we're just kind of making our own, kind of getting the standard and then following our own standard in the process. So I appreciate you all for doing the work, and I like what I see, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great job.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry
Christmas.
Thank you.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, our last information item, 16.4, will be North Little Rock High School and Center of Excellence course request. And I'll welcome our colleagues, Dr. St. Louis Who's joining? Are you by yourself, Dr. St. Louis? Or are you? Oh. Okay.
I do have my wonderful academy coach for the high school. She's here to just answer any questions. if
Tony,
necessary.
she can come up with you. Sure.
Don't be shy.
If you could just publicly state your name and your title for the record.
Jada Tony, Academy Coach, North Little Rock High School.
Okay.
Well, good evening, Board. Madam President, Dr. Paluski, and board members. I'm Dr. Nadia St. Louis, Building Principal for North Little Rock High School and the Center of Excellence. And this evening, I'm going to present our course request changes for the upcoming school year. So that's the purpose, is again, wanted to share some proposed changes for both North Little Rock High School and the Center of Excellence. So for the Center of Excellence, one of the proposed changes is digital electronics. It's a one-year course for students in grades 11 and 12. The prerequisite students would have to take engineering 1 and 2. It can also be counted as a computer science credit. We do have a teacher who's already certified to teach this course. It would just be an additional course offering for students who are looking for some other options with computer science. For the North Little Rock High School, you know, this is going to be, next year will be year 4 of career academies. So the current juniors will then have taken all 3 levels of their career pathway. And so this lists all of the last level courses for some of our pathways that we added last school year. I don't have to read each one unless you need me to, but so you can see that there. I would say no additional staffing is needed. The only thing I do want to point out is our pharmacy tech and our CNA is one of our most popular pathway. So if that increases in enrollment, there may be, we may have to go back and ask for some staffing needs there, but at this time, no additional staffing is needed. And then each slide thereafter just goes through the course name, how long the course is, the course credit, the grade served. All of these are pretty much just, it's the last pathway course that we like to offer in that pathway. So I'm not going to go through each one unless you all would like for me to. The next piece there is we added construction last school year. Baldwin & Shell is our branded partner, and so the level 3 and 3 course, and well, the second level is carpentry, and then we also would like to add game design and development as a computer science pathway for the high school. This year we started Avid 1 for our students. We are an Avid school. We would love to increase the enrollment in our Avid program. We really feel like it is a great program for our students. There is information about what Avid is there, but it really focuses on a lot of college readiness for our students, especially for students who do not have, who come from basically first generation college going students. And so we would love to continue with Avid 2 for those students who are in Avid 1 now. And so that would be for students who are in the 10th and 11th grade. It is a full elective. Something we're really excited about is next year we are adding a pathway, which is called SOAR. This is Scholarly Opportunities for Advanced Readiness. Students can elect to be in a pathway that is focused on advanced placement courses versus a career technical pathway. So students would have to take pre-AP core classes during their 9th grade year as a prerequisite, and then they would have to take so many AP courses throughout their time. They would have to sit for AP research and seminar in order to qualify as completers in that pathway. And so that is a new pathway that we'd like to offer for students in the high school that just focuses again on advanced placement. Ms. Tony is helping, doing a lot of that work with our SOAR pathway. We have a showcase coming up January 16th, and that's something that we want our community to know that is a focus for our campus for next school year. We are removing 2 courses, music technology, just due to low enrollment. And next year, we would like for all of our 9th graders to take Avid versus freshman seminar. That we just feel like the focus on Avid, the Avid curriculum, the Avid strategies will be a little bit more consistent for our students, as well as the exposure to both college and career readiness. It will embed a lot of the freshman seminar curriculum that we're already utilizing. but we just felt like it was a little bit more equitable in terms of what our students need exposure to. And so we decided to offer Avid for all of our 9th graders next year. And then as you all heard from the 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade campus, we are going to be pre-AP designation. So all of our courses that are advanced courses will now be pre-AP designation going forward. And so these are all of the pre-AP courses we will offer in the 25-26 school year. And I'm Nadia St. Louis. Any questions?
Good job, Dr. St. Louis.
Thank you.
I have a question. The pre-AP classes, are those weighted the same as the AP classes?
No.
No,
they are not.
So they're regular, if you will, as far as the grades, and only the AP. I'm asking them since they answered for you.
Correct.
So the AP is the only weighted. Okay. And then this may be a Jacob question. How do we decide what, trying to answer this or ask this correctly. How do we figure out if they are qualified to teach the class? So I'm going to say crime scene investigation. How do we figure out, say,
We do have to look at each teacher's licensure to ensure that they have their certification in the courses that they're teaching. So, depending on what the state, they list out what the teacher should be certified in, it should match their licensure.
okay. So I'm thinking in my head, human behavior and disorders, that should be like the psych teacher in my head.
Yes, and that is one of the certifications you can have to teach that course.
Okay.
There are a lot of classes you can have various certifications to teach that course.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm going to follow up on that, because in here you had 2 teachers you needed, one for the behavior and human behavior and disorders, and the other was pathology. So is that one teacher that can teach both those? Or
Yes, because it's a half credit course.
Okay.
And again, that aligns to our health and human services pathway, our medical pathway. And so we already have, again, that's probably our number one selected pathway is the medical sciences. And so we would probably, like I said, need an additional teacher to support that pathway in those courses.
Is there any additional training the teachers that have, I'm assuming the teachers that have been teaching freshman seminar will teach AVID?
Yes, AVID does have a summer institute that we are required to send teachers to who are teaching AVID.
I'm excited.
So how many teachers will we be sending?
Quite a bit of teachers. Right now we have 6 freshman seminar teachers, but we also have to send some of our staff to get their AVID training. Because we're not just trying to teach the class, we want to be an AVID school where we are developing teachers to use our AVID strategies around Wicker. And so that means we've got to make sure we get the professional learning opportunities to grow our campus.
So there's a cost associated with that.
There is. Now we do sign a contract with AVID. We signed it this school year, and so that's in, that hasn't been shared just yet because I wanted to present this first before we even move forward with the contract. But part of the contract is sending people to the training.
So we don't know what that cost is now.
I know what the cost is for this year. It changes. It goes down each year that you offer AVID.
Are you finished? I wanted to circle back on something you did.
I do want to just advocate for AVID because, in the Central Arkansas region, most of the schools around offer AVID, and that is something that is, to me, very appealing. It's a great program if you want to do some research into it. Ms. Meggs is currently our AVID teacher at the high school, and I believe if we can really do a lot with our AVID strategies, it can just really increase some of the rigor and just different opportunities on our campus. And so I know some other counties, they do AVID K-12. Other school districts have it at their high school level. And so I just feel like if we want to continue to, increase enrollment and opportunities, we've got to be able to offer what a lot of other schools are offering too.
Will AVID have geometry coverage?
AVID is an elective course. And so AVID helps with tutorials, helping students with organization, note-taking skills, anything that helps students prepare for college. That's what AVID is. So when you're thinking about, every student would have a binder that helps them keep organized. You know, we get them tutors to make sure they're doing their study habits. They would do focused note taking, just different strategies to help them prepare for college. And that's really what Avid is about. You can take it all 4 years if you choose to do so.
No, I was just saying, thank you for being visionary with the number of students that you have on your campus. Now there are choices that they can make, and that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So remind me what we offer in the medical. You said medical is our largest academy. What do we offer in it again?
So for which high school or COE or both?
Let's do both if you can do both. Because I'm seeing we're adding pharmacology, which is awesome. So I'm kind of curious, have we ventured into like sonograms? Have we gotten into the MRIs? Have we gotten into phlebotomy? Are we doing those things, or are we just gradually adding things as we go?
And I'll let Ms. Tony kind of answer, because she does a lot with our, CTE, but I will say there are only so many classes that we can offer based off of the state. And we actually already offer the pharmacy tech with COE. It's something that we want to offer at the high school. We also offer our CNA courses for our students, as well as sports medicine and something else. But
Emergency responder. So
Get to the mic.
the CTE curriculum, which is approved by DCTE, and we have a number of different pathways that we can include for medical services. That would be nursing services, where the students that are senior level would take the CNA class. Pharmacy tech would be a pathway. The human behavior and disorders is a pathway. Emergency responder, sports med. I think that covers all.
Do we
of
have
them.
medical terminology?
Medical terminology is the second level course. So students that are in the MedPro pathway would take a Foundations of Healthcare class, level 1. Level 2 is medical terminology, and then level 3 branches off into those specialty areas: CNA, pharmacy tech, sports med, etc.
And through our partnership with Baptist Health, that's where they do get exposed to some of those things like sonograms and things like that. Working with Baptist, they're doing an incredible job as one of our brand and business partners. And so there's a lot of opportunities there for students to learn about all various parts of the medical industry.
For sure. Okay, very good. I just wondered, fresh. Thanks.
I just want to add that Mr. Barnes has been working with them and his department of creating marketing around each pathway and each course, where you can see where you start. So that should be coming out shortly.
Cool. That's great.
Any other questions? We'll
I don't
keep
have
going.
any.
Okay. Great job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Madam President, members of the Board of Education, we'll go right into our new business, our action items. The first action item is 17.1, the reorganization of the Board of Education.
Okay. All right, it's that time of year again.
Do we have to go in order?
Yeah,
Same
we
si-
start out.
So we need to do
Yes.
president. Okay.
Vice President. Yeah.
Madam President,
Yes,
I nominate Rochelle Redis for president.
okay. We have a second.
Madam-
Are we going to take multiple
You just-
names?
No, you take 3 tabs. Oh, it's still open.
Okay,
It's been
I second it.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
Okay.
do we have,
I
Any other names?
recommend, I have a nomination for president also.
okay,
Angela West.
okay.
Second.
Is there a second?
You gonna second?
Second.
Thank you.
I thought
Okay.
somebody else was.
Okay.
Okay, so now we don't have this, so I'm not sure exactly the best way.
Each one.
Yeah,
We vote for each one. You know,
What do you?
so each person says yea or nay at the same time.
no.
Okay, so we'll
So
take the
we'll
first
take the
motion.
first
We'll
one.
take
Take
the
the
first
first
motion.
motion,
Okay,
and you
all right,
vote on
and we'll
it.
do it by roll call.
Roll call.
Okay. And so this one is for Dr. Redis to be the president.
Right. All in, you want to do the nomination?
No, we're gonna do a roll call. Yes.
No.
Yes. Let me know. Dr. Redis.
Yes.
Ms. McQueen.
Yes.
Ms. Wonkum.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's a 5-2 majority. Okay, all right. So
She's
then Dr.
declared.
Redis is the president.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Valerie McLean for Vice President.
Second.
Okay. Is there anybody else being nominated for vice president?
No.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, okay, vice president.
Congratulations.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I would like to nominate Natalie Wonkum for Secretary.
okay. Is there a second? Okay, we got a
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Is there anybody else?
Was there a second?
Yes, there was a second. Is there any other names?
Any other
Okay, all right.
nominations?
Any other nominations? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Natalie, your secretary.
Thanks.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Disbursing officer.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so nominate the dispersing officer to be yourself, Cindy.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move, or excuse me, I so nominate the alternative dispersing officer to be Dorothy.
Second.
Second.
Any other nominations? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Madam President,
Yes.
I move for the
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I so move to nominate the parliamentarian to be Mr. Henry.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations?
All in favor?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carried.
Okay, who else do we have? What else?
Angela,
Okay.
liaison.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna decline that
No.
one because I don't have time for that to like try to keep up with all that stuff.
Do we want to disperse that one since we don't have Tracy any longer? And he
Does it
just-
have to, is
I don't
it a
want that.
requirement to have a legislative liaison?
It was recommended.
Yeah,
I got you.
It was recommended.
Because we could, we could take that on as part of my staff to give the board an update on legislative
Yeah,
items
do that.
impacting the
Lucas keep us informed all the time anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we suspend having a legislative liaison.
Second. As far as like the board member title.
All in favor, say aye.
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 It's on
Okay.
you, Madam
All right. All
Chair.
right.
Then we need a general.
wait, did everybody just vote on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
we did.
Okay.
mhm.
So general
The-
board member, is that what you're saying?
The Board of Education moves to approve the following. President for 2025, the President, Rochelle Redis, Vice President, Valerie McLean, Secretary, Natalie Wonkum, Dispersing Officer, Cindy Temple, Alternate Dispersing Officer, Dorothy Williams, and Parliamentarian, Henry Taylor.
Second.
Okay. All right. So
Uh,
I
All
thought
in
we've already
favor,
voted
say-
for all this, but that's okay. We'll do it again.
do it
All in
again.
favor? All in
Aye.
favor?
We have to do a slate.
Oh, okay. All right. All in favor?
Yo, I thought we-
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
So do we
Next
want,
is ex officio for the superintendent.
Madam
Uh,
Chair, this, I recommend that the superintendent be approved for the 2024-2025, according to the resolution from the board as the
So,
Just a
If-
moment.
if-
Nursing officer.
We skipped, employment of personnel.
Right, if,
Yeah, move it
we
to
probably should have, I
Oh, we
probably should have
did.
moved all that around.
Yeah,
Well,
we
let's-
did.
Let me go knock that out real quick, okay. Action item 17.2, Madam President, members of our Board of Education, the superintendent recommends the approval of the employment of personnel as discussed in executive closed session.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the employment of personnel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Madam President, 17.3, action item 2024-2005, resolution for board dispersing officer and board alternative dispersing officer.
Oh, yeah, I had to read that. Hold on.
Okay, so is this,
Okay.
just to
I see it.
verify, is this where we're putting the
The
new
names.
officer name?
Yes.
in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, just wanna make sure I'm getting that correct. You wanna do it? Go ahead. You get this.
Madam Chair, the North Little Rock School District Board of Directors resolves that Dorothy Williams is our dispersing officer and, no, I'm sorry, back that up. The North Little Rock School District Board of Directors resolves that Cindy Temple is our dispersing officer and Dorothy Williams is our alternate dispersing officer.
Second.
All right. Moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Now,
Yep, 17.4. Madam President, members of the Board of Education, next item is 17.4, superintendent as ex officio financial secretary.
Madam President, I so move that we accept and approve the superintendent, Dr. Paluski, as the ex officio financial secretary.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, members of our Board of Education, next action item is 17.5, the district calendar recommendation for the 25-26 school year. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the district calendar recommendation for the 25-26 school year, which includes option 1 as presented and approved through our LPPC and CPPC.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept option 1 for the calendar, district calendar for 25 to 26.
Second.
Okay, I'm getting nervous because really Rochelle
Shit,
should
I was
be
gonna
doing
say.
this, and
Go
you
ahead.
know, okay, all right.
Because
All
I
right.
did say for 2025.
Okay, okay,
When I did the whole slate, so you good.
okay, all right. I was just sitting here thinking, oh, we're gonna have to
You're good.
redo all these. All right,
You're good.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Board of Education. Last action item is 17.6, Community Service Learning Partner. The superintendent recommends to approve the Community Service Learning Partner application as presented at St. Mary's Catholic Church.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the community service learning partner for, what did you say?
St.
St.
Mary's
St. Mary's
Catholic Church.
Catholic Church. Oh, where on there is
Okay.
that second, on that yellow?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, which consists of 18.1, bank reconciliation, 18.2, net legal balance worksheet, 18.3, monthly financial reports, 18.4, business office items, 18.5, payment of regular bills, that's it.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
19.1 is acknowledgements. Just want to wish all of our employees a very happy, safe holiday. Congratulations to all of our board members and our leadership for your positions. Thank you for all that you do for this school district. You never receive enough thank you, in my opinion, for one of the highest paid jobs in the state of Arkansas. And just want to thank all of our students. Tomorrow's the last day end of the semester, and just want to thank all of our employees for a good first semester, and we look forward to a great new school year.
Be safe and enjoy family.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Parents, read to your children.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for the last time, I get to do my favorite motion. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Amen, hallelujah.
All right.